All right, guys, thank you. Welcome to the No1 Podcast. I am your host, Coach Jake. I hope you guys are doing good, man. Crazy week. Yeah. I want to continue today. I've got a busy day, so we're going to keep this one relatively short. It'll probably still go it'll definitely go over a half hour. Will not go over an hour. I've got like a crazy schedule today. I'm doing for those of you in Denver, downtown by the ballpark at Thrive Workplace Ballpark. You can look it up, Google it, find on Google Maps. 4:30, I will be there. We're hosting the free 10X Denver Meetup. So hope to see you guys at that. And then what else do I got going? Then I'm signing up the second affiliate for the Scientific Wrestler affiliate program. Super duper excited about that. My target is to get 100 full affiliates. That is gyms that are flying the Scientific Wrestling banner and are in the Scientific Wrestling family and on the mission, a complete alternative to, say, jiu-jitsu based grappling systems. Scientific Wrestling offers you an incredible system. You can check it all out, scientificwrestler.com. Today, I wanted to talk about, yes, I'm going to continue expanding on the topic of this signature talk I'm working on called Wrestling with Greatness. There are 5 pillars, right? The first pillar, get real or have that man in the mirror or that rock bottom moment. 2, find an obsession, something that's a healthy obsession that you're into, even if you're not making money from it. 3 was to take risks, calculated risks. 4, you guys remember this by now? I've like repeated this over and over and over again. Number 4, after taking risks, was and now I'm pulling a brain fart. So take massive amounts of action. Like you have to put in tremendous amounts of effort to make this happen. And then the 5th pillar is people. Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about this first part. I'm going to go, I'm kind of jumping around because I'm still putting the ideas together, and you're on the journey with me. And I appreciate that a lot. So, I want to talk about this idea of what happens. What is it that's really cooking when you get real, right? The first pillar. What does that mean? What is the and I want to talk to you about it in the context of this concept that I first was made aware of by a libertarian thinker and writer and presidential candidate. You may never have heard of him. Brilliant guy. He's passed away. His name is Harry Browne. Okay. He wrote this book. Man, I think it was in the 70s. Might have been early 80s. I can't remember. Sorry. I'm a book nerd, but I can't remember when everything was published. But I'm pretty sure it was in the 70s. And the name of the book was, and I love this book. This is, if you could find, I think they sell a digital copy now. Yeah, because I bought it. I have a hard copy as well. There's a fantastic book. The name of the book is How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. That's a heavy concept, first of all, right? Because for those of us that are very interested in this concept of human liberation and in more of the actual like political sense, and I hate politics, but in the sense of free from other people to do as you want to do as long as you don't harm anybody, right? That's the context in which he's talking about. And we don't live in a free world. So much is heavily regulated. Now, America is still, believe it or not, it's becoming less and less so, but it's still a relatively free country. The American dream is not dead. You can still make a name for yourself and become quite successful from nothing. That's, in fact, the whole theme of this podcast. No one to number one, the number one podcast, right? So that's the theme of this podcast, and it's possible. And that's what I love about that book. And it's pretty timeless. Even though it was written in the 70s, it's still very, very relevant. How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World. And this is relevant not just in freedom in the political sense, okay? He stumbles on this concept in this book. Well, he doesn't stop. He elucidates this concept that I think is priceless. This is such a great thing to be aware of. And it's what he calls identity traps. And this is some heavy stuff. Basically, an identity trap is, and this is so prescient, so forward thinking, so predictive of the future that he was coming up with this. Because if we look right now, there's something known as identity politics. Have you heard of this? How everybody's got to have an identity. Oh, I'm African American. Oh, I'm lesbian. Oh, I'm whatever. And it's this idea that you as a human being can be fit into a checkbox on a government form or a corporate form, right? That you have an identity. Okay. Now, first of all, it's total fucking bullshit. It's a complete illusion. And I mean, I don't want to get all Buddhist and shit here, but your identity is an illusion as well. Okay. It's a constructed, useful tool used by the human mind to operate, especially amongst other human beings, and to differentiate yourself, right? So it's not a real thing, but it is a useful thing. I mean, it's real in the sense of like your username is real for Facebook or Instagram or anything like that. By the way, in celebration, I mentioned this to the Instagram live people, but in celebration of Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter and hopefully a renaissance, a revival of some free speech online, because we aren't, we get all censored everywhere nowadays. Excuse me, pardon my allergies. I have started to live stream to Twitter. So if you have a Twitter account, please follow me there. It's just at Jake Shannon, one word. Very simple. I think I got like 6,000 followers or something. I have no idea how I got that many followers on there, but I'd appreciate it. Follow me if you are a tweeter. Now you can follow actually this podcast, this live stream on Twitter as well, at Jake Shannon on Twitter. So anyway, identity traps. Okay, so here's the deal, man. An identity trap is exactly that. Trying to fit you, which is an incredibly complex, nuanced being, where sometimes there are blurred lines and just things aren't sure and they change, into a firm, fixed identity. Okay? Does that make sense? So just think of those dumb check boxes on government forms. Are you Native American? Are you Latino, not Hispanic? Are you white, not Hispanic? Like, I don't know. Fuck. They got all these dumb things. Are you male? Are you female? Are you blah, 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 blah? Are you cisgendered? They're trying to get you to put yourself into a box. That's why it's called a trap. Okay? You're putting yourself into a box. And anybody who has paid Ancestry.com or 23andMe or any of these, and you spit the vial and they centrifuge it, you learn that race is bullshit. These are constructs. Bullshit. Okay? So there's no such thing as black or African. I mean, I got some freaking African in me. I got Neanderthal. Where's my Neanderthal checkbox on all the fucking government forms? So the point is these are traps. This is the point that Harry Brown was making. Okay? So, part of this idea of rock bottom and how this is relevant in this framework, these 5 pillars of greatness that I am expanding upon and exploring in this Wrestling with Greatness signature talk that I'm developing is that many times part of the reason why you're stuck right now, perhaps, I don't know you, you're just randomly listening to this, hopefully. Part of the reason why you're having challenges in your life is because you may be trapped, as Harry Brown suggests, you may be trapped in your identity into this construct, right? Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I can do this, I can't do that. A lot of times that's bullshit. You just don't know. Or somebody has told you and you believe them, right? So, I think one of the things that's important is that when you want to change, for example, so, in my coaching endeavors, with Thales Coaching, thalescoaching.com, check it out, please, THALAS coaching.com. Just click over there, check it out, see all the things that I can help you with. But a lot of that is helping people transition from, really my whole trip is I am pretty much freedom obsessed, individual liberty. Like I want individuals to be free, meaning that they have more control, more options, more things that they feel they can do in their life, because life is short. And as far as I know, we only get one go around. Maybe you get reincarnated. I don't know. All I know is that I got this one, and I want to be able to live the life with as many options and experiences as I possibly, and that's freedom to me, optionality. Okay. So a lot of times I'm spending time freeing people from these, like in a lot of this personal development, they're going, oh, you got limited beliefs and you need mindset coaching and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay. But it's because you're in an identity trap, right? And so a lot of that work is like getting you free from it. And again, this book, How I Found Freedom in an Unfree World by Harry Brown, highly, highly recommended. I read it decades ago in the 90s, and it was a very, very useful book. But I think that a lot of people get stuck. Like, I help people become entrepreneurs because I think that is a first way in which you can really become free, right? So becoming an entrepreneur is really taking responsibility. It's no longer expecting a job, expecting a paycheck. It's going out and producing value, things that other people find valuable enough that they give you money for. That's really what entrepreneurship is about, whether it's a service or a product. Okay. So what that affords you is, okay, so I think a lot of people, when they have a job, they feel safety and security and all, but again, that's an illusion. At some level of a job, there is an entrepreneur or owner who created or is in charge of running that business. They're the ones exposed to the fluctuations and the volatility of the revenue streams and the cash flows. You're hidden from it because you get a salary. But the problem with being hidden from those volatilities is that you are ignorant. And so when you get a pink slip because you're getting laid off because there is no longer demand for your company's product or service, the one that you're getting, that they can't pay you anymore. And now you're out in the dark. Okay. And so literally you're one cash flow away from poverty if you just are relying on a job. I mean, I think a lot of people found this out during COVID most recently, but every financial crisis, scores and scores of people learn this the hard way. So it's important your average millionaire has 7 different revenue streams. Do you understand? So it diversifies their cash flow a bit. So they're not beholden. But guess what? If you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, if I have a company with 300 clients, I have 300 bosses. That sounds awful, right? Until you realize I don't have to kiss any one of their asses necessarily. I mean, I have to provide great service, have a great relationship with them, a wonderful reputation, but I don't have to compromise my principles or do anything, because if they're a piece of crap and they're a piece of shit, I still have 299 other bosses. I could actually fire my boss and not have put myself at risk. Do you understand? So this is one of the things that I think is so crucially important about being an entrepreneur, is it's actually safer. Not at the beginning when you're starting out, but ironically, you're in very much the same boat as when you have one boss. When you have you're building up to having multiple bosses, and sometimes that takes years. That's client acquisition. That is the role of sales and marketing, right? So this very nicely connects with what I was talking about yesterday about this mindset shift from being a consumer to becoming a producer, in particularly with regards to social media, because social media, when you make that shift from being a consumer of social media to becoming a producer, all of a sudden you are involved in sales and marketing, particularly marketing, right? Because here's the simple differentiation between the two. Marketing is about acquiring leads. Do you know what I mean by that? Acquiring leads, potential customers, not customers yet. The exchange has not happened. That's the role of sales. The role of marketing is getting all the people to know about your brand and maybe beginning some sort of conversation for an exchange of value, meaning your product for their money. Sales happens when that's that process. Sales is the process of actually closing the deal, exchanging the money, all the things that need to happen, from fact finding to, qualifying the person, to making sure they're on the right product, to demoing the right product, to writing up a proposal, to negotiating the deal, to closing the deal, to delivering the product. That's all sales. All that detail, and each of those details can be broken out. For example, I am doing I'm starting a training next week. It's the 10X sales and marketing training that I'm doing. And it's, you guys could sign up. It's a group coaching program. So it's actually more affordable for you guys than the one-to-one coaching. A lot of you guys can't afford that. I mean, if you sign a 6-month contract, it's $1,500 a month. I have plenty of clients like that, but a lot of you guys have messaged me and let me know that you can't afford that level yet because you're new. You're still a worker bee and you got this salary. You're trying to figure out your budget. So I developed this other program that's a group coaching, right? So you're going to be in with 10, 15 other people. It's still live. You can still ask me questions. We do it over Google Meet. I'm just not a Zoom guy. I like Google Meet. I'm more familiar. It integrates with my calendar. Anyway, we do it. And then the great thing is you also get access to Cardone University, which is the #1 sales and marketing training platform on the planet. It's amazing. So you get complete access to that, which has like 8,000 different training videos, all these different certification programs. But in addition to that, we have a weekly call where we go over, I assign you homework. We go over your questions live. It's really an amazing thing. If you guys are interested in that, we are actually starting next week. So it's 10X RevGen, like revenue generation, right? 10X RevGen will take you to the page depending on the length of the contract you sign. So if you do one-to-one coaching with me, that is depending on the length of the contract. You sign a 1-month contract, it's $3,500 a month, because I'm going to have to work my ass off to really make sure that 1 month of coaching works, because I'm a results-driven guy. That's the point of coaching. I'm not your therapist. I don't want to hear about mommy and daddy and what, somebody beat you up or called you names. I don't want to hear about that. I want results, okay? And so if you're only going to sign up month to month, It's a lot more work for me to make sure that works. So it's $3,500 a month. If you sign up for a 3-month contract, $2,500. If you sign up for 6 months, $1,500. You sign up for a year, it's $1,000. That's how I make sure if you commit to me, I'm committed to you. We will rock. That's 1-to-1. It's a little more expensive, and I'm very grateful to all those clients that have been working with me over the years. But for those of you that couldn't afford that, 10x RevGen is going to be the way to work with me. And in addition to all my experience, my motivation, my accountability, you're also going to get access to Cardone University, which is a $1,500 a month or $1,500 a year value. So that's $1,500. Boom, you get totally included for free. In addition to the group coaching with me. So check out 10xrevgen.com if you guys are interested, or DM me. We are starting next week. Okay. So this is one of those things. And listen, here's another thing. I was talking about the hidden meaning of words, and I talked about the etymology and what's the original meaning of the word speed. You can Google this. Etymology, what's the original meaning of word speed? Success. You got to stop dicking around, man. This isn't a sales pitch. I'm just telling you, I don't want to bore you with all the fucking things that I've done, because I've done some fucking badass shit. And I'm 48 and I'm just getting fucking started. But the reason I did that is because I don't fucking hesitate. What do they say? He who hesitates masturbates. Maybe you're into that shit, but I'm actually into creation, into growth, into creating fucking magical babies and shit. You cannot do that through masturbation. You cannot do that through hesitation. DM me. Let's go. Go to 10x RevGen. Let's figure this out. Get on the phone. I'll get you the forums. We can get it all set up tonight. But I want to go back. So the deal is that like with these identity traps, they literally want to put you in a box. They want to limit you. Freedom is the opposite. Freedom is being freed from a box, saying, I am so much more than being white or being male or being 48. I mean, these are all just small little parts of who I am. There's no box for fucking wrestler. There's no box for business development nerd. There's no box for author. There's no box for family man. There's no box for guy who donates his time to dog rescue or homelessness or the Innocence Project, or where's all that shit? You know what I mean? Because they want to paint you into a certain thing. So part of this first pillar of greatness is getting real. That's what I call it. Okay. Getting real. But it's also, for some people, it's rock bottom. When I was first discussing this concept, I think a week or two ago, I was talking about, there was a period after I had cancer as a kid, I just was fucked up in the head, right? I was really fucked up. I stopped working out. I started drinking, started doing a bunch of drugs. Just everything got fucked up. I was really traumatized. I didn't have mentorship to help me. I just was really fucked up. Hey, what's up, Tony? Oh, thanks, man. I'd like to think I'm a role model, but, I don't know. Dennis Rodman said I'm not a role model. But I do think, leadership is important. I don't know about role model, because I got plenty of, I make mistakes like a motherfucker. But that is the speed part, right? I'm not afraid of failure. This is another box. Yeah, guess what? I could have the box failure. I had Charles Barkley. Yeah, thanks, Tony. I did a podcast last week on every failure. Not every failure. Shit, that would be like 10 weeks of podcasts. But on my business failures, right? But is that my checkbox? Is that my identity? No. And especially because if you say failure, that means something different to different people. To me, failure means that you got fucking guts. It means that you're willing to go out there and fucking fail. Push yourself beyond your fucking capacity. That's what failure means to me. Now, failure also could be you're a lazy piece of shit, right? I mean, you could be a failure. I don't know is my point. So the problem is these words and these language, they form identity traps. This is what I fucking hate about psychiatry. Okay. I fucking hate it. Thomas Zaz, another huge, I've had some people that I really have changed my life and I consider mentors. Many of them I knew personally. I was able to do Thomas Zaz's last in-depth radio interview. That is like, man, that is a feather in my cap. Nobody else gives a fuck. I do, though. This guy was brilliant. He held the entire industry of all these wanky finger-wagging evil motherfuckers, people fucking lobotomizing people and saying it was legit. Okay? They're still around. They're called psychiatrists. It's mostly a scam built upon identity traps, cloaked in medical language. It's not actually medical. Okay? When they label you with ADHD, when they label you depressed, when they label you schizophrenic, there's no fucking medical, these are what are known as inkhorn terms. Prestige jargon. Bullshit. It's language that sounds medical, but there's nothing medical about it, right? But words have this power over people. And so, you get labeled ADHD and all of a sudden you get stuck in this trap. Oh, I can't do it because I'm bullshit. It's bullshit. Tom Cruise understands this because he's a Scientologist, okay? I'm not a Scientologist. I don't give a shit about Scientology. It's fine. Believe what you want. You can be fucking Christian, Buddhist, Scientologist. I don't care, okay? But the Scientologists are aligned, and Thomas Zaz was an atheist. I consider myself an agnostic. I'm not an atheist. I'm a spiritual person. But that doesn't mean I can't agree with what Thomas Zaz was saying. Thomas Zaz was vilified, pounded, fired, all these things because he was merely standing up and saying, okay, all this shit that you guys are doing, he was a psychiatrist. He got his MD and then went and became a psychiatrist and became psychiatry's biggest critic, okay? And he stood against all of this onslaught because he was right. And he stood there for 50, 60 years, and his ideas are still being vindicated today. Despite all this bullshit, this like medicalization, the only people, excuse me, I'm getting fired up. The only people that actually would back Thomas Zaz financially to help him spread this word were the Scientologists. So all the Scientologists, whether you're talking Tom Cruise or, somebody who is in on this, you can read it in Be Obsessed or Be Average is Grant Cardone. He gets it too. Because the Scientologists created the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. Okay, it's a separate organization. They funded it. They founded it with Thomas Zaz because of the identity traps being created by the pharmacological industrial complex to get everybody on these fucking psych meds and to turn into chemically lobotomized cash flows. Because the normal lobotomy, you couldn't turn it into money. But if they could get you hooked on this shit because they called you a fucking name, that's it. Oh, you're depressed. Okay, I'm not saying that people who suffer from depression, anxiety, PTSD, attention, I'm not saying that people don't have life problems. That is fucking clear. I'm not saying that people aren't suffering. What I'm saying is that the solution is not to be found in a fucking pill, and it is not necessarily a permanent fucking solution. But once you put a label, an identity trap on somebody, it becomes very much a nocebo. Do you know what a nocebo is? Do you know what a placebo is? Yeah, that interview with Thomas Zaz, Tony's asking me, is on YouTube. Go to, let's see. I'm going to create another banner here. It's No1, or No, like the name of my podcast, number 1, No1.ninja. Scroll down, look for Thomas Zaz, SZASZ is his last name. I have a full 2 hours or an hour and a half or something crazy like that. One of the most brilliant guys, has so many great books. He has other interviews, things that he's done. Fantastic. So, okay. It's no1.ninja. That's all my past shows. Not only the interview with him, I have an interview that I did with Jesse Ventura up there. I have an interview with the bassist from Nirvana. Actually, nothing to do with music. Had to do with his interest in voting systems and why our current voting system is so caveman compared to some of these other more brilliant systems. Anyway, no1.ninja. Check it out. All those old stuff. Anyway, so a placebo is when the doctor says to you, hey, man, and he's got like a fucking Tic Tac, like a sugar pill. It ain't nothing. It ain't got nothing. It's just fucking sugar. But you don't know that. And he says, this thing, whatever your problem is going to cure it. And you like, he's in a white lab coat and he's an authority figure like, oh, okay. You take it and it does. But it wasn't the fucking sugar pill. It was the belief and the power of belief that he bestowed upon you through lying. So here's a big problem, right? There's a code of medical ethics, and I believe in it. I actually believe it's known as principalism. It came out of the Nuremberg Code after all the fucking atrocities that Nazi doctors did during World War II. We hung people for these things that are going on today, by the way, and nobody's getting hung. So, you might want to fucking wake the fuck up. But, medical ethics is there's these ideas of principalism, right? And it's like primum non nocere, right? The Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm, right? The second is informed consent. And then there's like two other ones. One has to do with like justice. And I can't remember the other one off the top of my head. I think it's a great code just for like political systems and even a personal code of ethics. It's called principalism. You can look it up. Bioethical principalism came out in the Nuremberg Code. Anyway, the problem with the placebo is that it actually violates informed consent because you have to lie to the person to make it happen, right? And so there's a brilliant guy. He's a critic of I think he's out of Harvard, Irving Kirsch, Kirsch, Irving Kirsch. He wrote a book. I think it's called The Emperor's New Drugs, and it's about the fact that like if you Google Prozac and placebo, you can see that placebo works better than a fucking Prozac. And you get none of the fucking fucked up side effects. Right? Total scam. This is like criminal fucking behavior, but nobody seems to give a fuck. Anyway, a placebo is when you have a positive belief. Somebody gives you the sugar pill and they're like, oh, this is going to heal you. And it does, but it's not the pill. It's your own personal power of belief. It's an incredible thing that is in your system. That's why, people are like, oh, it's just the placebo effect. I'm like, that shit's fucking amazing. That is the very basis by which we judge the efficacy of any medicine, is if it actually performs better than a placebo, right? So placebo is amazing and powerful, but so is nocebo. Nocebo is the opposite. I give you that sugar pill, but I'm like, dude, this motherfucking shit's cyanide. And you take it and you get ill and get all fucked up because of beliefs. That's what psychiatric diagnosis is when it has when it's missing what is known as somatic pathology. Somatic pathology is actual science, real science, not scientism, not shit that sounds like science, but it's actually pseudoscience, real science, somatic pathology. Look it up, somatic pathology. Somatic meaning body, pathology meaning method. So what you do is you actually get a slide with a fucking biopsy, a blood sample, some sort of fucking scan where you can see a real lesion, something really happening, okay? Not some cluster of concepts and bullshit, okay? I'm just being real here. These identity traps are being used to trap you, whether it's identity politics, whether it's diagnoses for shit, whether it's your own beliefs, whether your friends or somebody says that you're too much this or too little that. If you want to be free, part of getting real with this is breaking free of these identity traps. It's hard. It's not easy. So this is a deep, deep, deep topic. Okay. And I get fired up. I'm not sorry, but I get fired up of it because I think it's important. Right. And I think in terms of like, again, this idea that I had, this talk about wrestling with greatness and the 5 parts, the very first part is getting real. And when I say getting real, that means breaking out of the identity trap. So, like after I got, I had been a wrestler, got my black belt taekwondo, and then boom, 15 years old, I get hammered with cancer. And constantly doctors, oh, you're sick, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. And just fucking hammered. People fucking surgerying on me, putting chemicals, exposing me to radiation. And just my brain is just fucked up. I'm going through puberty and I'm like bald. I'm 6 foot, 117 pounds. Like just my identity is just getting fucking hammered. And then I start doing drugs because I'm in just so much pain. I tried therapy, didn't fucking do shit. I'm like wanting results. I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't want to talk about shit in the past. I want to solve this and move forward. Nothing was working. And I remember I had this moment where it was spring break. I was an only child, so I had 0 fucking social skills with people my own age. I was great with adults, right? But it's spring break, my freshman year, and I'm fucking alone. I got no friends. I'm fucking super out of shape. Just got done with cancer like a year and a half prior, doing too many fucking drugs, not taking my schooling seriously. I mean, I got a scholarship to school, right? Oh, Tony's talking about NLP. Okay, yeah, it's mostly bullshit too. There's some good stuff in it, but a lot of it's the same prestige fucking jargon with no real foundation in science. Some of it's okay. Most of it's BS. I think the stuff that does work can be found for free when you look up hypnosis. But again, the word hypnosis has so much fucking baggage. If you go and you look at any movie or book where the main character is a hypnotist, they're a fucking evil, manipulative scumbag. So it's got, I think now like they're putting it in different language, which I think is good. Cognitive behavioral therapy. I think there is some empirical data to support that. NLP is kind of it's a marketing term and language. There's some useful stuff, but again, some of it is creepy and manipulative. And I explored it in depth. I just don't like it. Not to say that there isn't useful stuff, right? And so I dropped it. And I no longer do hypnotism or any of that just because of the baggage of the fucking language, right? I don't like it. But I do consider myself a language artist and a writer. And I do think that these are powerful, powerful things to grasp. And, another great quote that Thomas Zaz said with regards to this identity trap concept, okay? And being diagnosis, all this kind of stuff is he said, it used to be the law of the jungle was eat or be eaten. But in the modern age, it's define or be defined. So you have to really take serious this idea of owning and defining who you are, despite what anybody else fucking says. And especially if you plan on greatness, okay? If you plan on any kind of greatness, you're going to get fucking haters, period. Look at anybody. This is where something like Google is so easy. Type somebody in that you like. I don't know who it is. Who are you into right now? Fucking, I'm so old. I got bad references. Look at Britney Spears. Okay, this is how old I am. So look at Britney Spears. You type in Britney Spears or Paris Hilton. You type in love Britney Spears, you'll get tens and tens of pages of content. If you type hate Britney Spears or hate Paris Hilton, you're going to get tens and tens, or Tom Cruise or whoever the fuck. Okay? You cannot escape duality on this plane of existence. So if you're going to make a big impact, you're going to have fucking fans and you're going to have fucking haters and critics, period. It just comes with expansion. Okay? It's the way you can't escape duality in this plane of spirituality. Okay. But if you want to continue your growth and the thing is this, you want to be great, in my opinion, especially if you have a mission. If you feel like what you're doing is important and you feel that you want to help people, you have a moral fucking obligation and duty to be great and do the best you can. And that means take on some haters. Okay. But that is important. Why it's important for you to have a strong definition and that you define yourself. So you're not defined by the haters or even defined by your fans. Okay. You don't want to get caught into the illusion of who people think you are, whether it's good or bad. You need to define who you are for yourself. That is called integrity. Integrity, right? I think the best definition of that is, doing the right thing, whether people are watching or not. But I add, because you're watching. That is the basis of all true self-esteem, is integrity. Doing the right thing when nobody's watching because you're watching. You don't esteem somebody who lies, steals, hurts people, any of that kind of stuff. Most people don't, unless you're a psychopath, you don't care. But like most, 99% of the population, they don't hold people in high esteem that do that. Well, what the fuck do you think? You're a witness to your own experience. What do you think your own estimation of yourself is going to be when you're doing that shit? Even if nobody else sees it, you're seeing it, right? So you have to define who you are and know who you are, just no matter what anybody says. Okay? That is being free of the identity trap. The way you free yourself from the identity trap of others is to create a strong identity for yourself. Okay? And that is the first part of changing, shifting from, say, the identity, and maybe these identities are non-aware. Like, are you aware of your identity as a consumer? You consume like a motherfucker. Right now, you're consuming social media. You're consuming my broadcast. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, are you aware? And do you have an awareness of your being a producer? Because you are producing something, but what are you producing? Are you producing negativity? Are you whining? Are you complaining? Are you making excuses? What are you producing? What is your identity? Identity is not, okay, Tony asked, how do you find it? This is another great Thomas Zod's quote. Identity is not something you find. You don't go out and search to find yourself. Identity is something you create and something you defend and you fight for. So you need to sit down. This is that man in a mirror moment that I talked about in the first pillar of greatness, that you have to get real. You have to have that maybe rock bottom moment. Maybe you have to have that man in the mirror conversation. Does that make sense? It's something you create. Okay, so like a huge hero of mine. Okay, so let's talk about some of my mentors and my heroes. Some of them I know, some of them I've never met. Thomas Zaz, very lucky to know. Carl Gotch, lucky to know. Billy Robinson, man, that guy was my fucking coach for 7 years. Holy shit. But I have other ones that I've never met. One of them is fucking 50 Cent, the rapper. I fucking love that guy. I read all his books. He's written do you know he's written like a bunch of books on success? And they're great. Right? So, like, you can start designing some of what you want to be and who you want to be by. Now, this is one thing that NLP talks about that is valuable, and that's this idea of modeling people, not copying, modeling, looking up to people. It's just a fucking fancy word. Looking up to them and trying to invoke some of their spirit, some of their qualities, and living up to what these ideals that they seem to represent for you, right? Modeling. Okay, is another stupid incorn term for a simple concept. So I think what you have to do is you have to really get real. you have to look at like, what fucking identities, where have I been defined and where am I defining myself? So where have you been defined by other people? Maybe your race, maybe your gender. I mean, I can understand to some extent these fucking weirdos on the left sometimes when they're like, well, gender is a construct. It is. But you also have to respect the fact that if you were born with fucking testicles, and you had a sex change when you're 25, your body grew as a man. You're going to understand why I don't think it's fair for you to go compete with my daughter in a sport. Like, that's not fair. You can still compete in a sport, but you need to maybe be in your own trans league or something. That makes sense to me. So you're competing apples to apples here. But it's not apples to apples if it's actually an orange and I just fucking call it an apple. That's not apples to apples. That's apples to orange called an apple. That's different, right? So my point is you have to make these differentiations as to like, what is the fucking identity trap you find yourself in? Where is the limit? What is being imposed? What box, what fucking checkbox are you in that is stopping you, right? You don't want to be on your deathbed, whether you're 90 or you're 15 dying of cancer with regrets because of your own fucking hangups. You have to take responsibility for your life. Stop fucking blaming other people. You have to like look at what are these fucking traps that are being foisted on yourself. You have to be savvy. You are not broken. You're not. Unless you fucking believe, and then that's a nocebo. You're doing that because of your own fucking shit, right? So what definitions are being put on you? I mean, look, I'm a guy that loves wrestling. I got a fucking pencil neck. Now that's because I fucking have a collapsed carotid artery from wrestling. I fucking broke it and it was radiated. Like, I got reason. That don't fucking stop me. Do you know how many fucking people like make comments online and rag on me when they see me because my image is not congruent with what their image of a wrestler is? I mean, I'm a tall, lanky dude with a long fucking neck that's been irradiated, broken, and fucking has a carotid dissection. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but what I'm saying is like, fuck off. I don't give a fuck. And this is what the thing is like, my passion for wrestling, my contributions to wrestling, my investments in wrestling far outweigh your whack ass little lame fucking ass assertions. The haters don't fucking matter. They don't. You just keep producing. See, that is my identity. I'm a producer. I'm a creator. Right? I'm not a hater. I'm a creator. Maybe 50 Cent will use that in his next shit. I doubt it. But my point is that you have to define yourself and stop letting other people define you. Okay? And you may be doing it. You're probably doing it yourself. This is like one of those things. You hear that fable about the elephant, the baby elephant that has a cord around its leg when it's a baby and it can't break free. And when it grows up, all it needs is that same little wimpy cord. It could totally just snap that shit. But because it grew up with that limit, it thinks it's an insurmountable fucking thing. Right? This is why things like the power of belief, I hate it because it sounds so fucking trite, but it's true. What you actually believe, your internal landscape, your identity, how you define yourself. And we live in this age where there are all these fucking screens. Every other commercial on the news is about like, oh, do you have this problem? Here's a fucking pill. And then they whisper, because they have to by law, all the side effects. Oh, suicidal ideation. Oh, homicide, homicidal tendencies. Your ass will bleed. Your fucking eyeballs will shoot out your head. Like all these dumb side effects, right? And you're inundated with all these fucking messages. And like, you know, women complain about it. Like these beauty standards, like you're ugly unless you look like fucking whoever is the dumb fucking chick du jour now, right? The Kim Kardashian or the fucking Christy Brinkley or whatever, whoever, it changes, right? Stop. Fucking, if you have a strong identity and a strong sense of who you are, because you fucking defined it, you remind yourself, you know what, man? This is another thing Grant Cardone teaches, and I believe in it, and I tell everybody that I work with. Write down your goals and write down your identity twice a day. Twice a day. Why? Because fucking think about how many motherfucking messages you get when they were pushing all this lockdown bullshit and pushing all these vaccines, and now everybody's dying of heart attacks from the side effects and stuff, okay? Wake the fuck up. How many times did you hear that message a day? 15, 20 times? That's how they get you through these fucking screens. Push, 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 push. Message, message, message. Your identity is this. Your identity is this. Take fucking charge. Start writing your own shit. Get in control. Stop being a fucking slave. Break free from these identity traps. That's the first part of change, is recognition of how am I being defined by others? Where am I not taking charge of that? Now, when you define yourself, I'm not saying be ridiculous. I'm not going to define myself as 7 feet tall. I'm 6'1". You want to make sure that your definitions are in line with reality, but you need to have this is why it's important to know things like science, so that these guys in white lab coats who don't do any somatic pathology, they come along and say, oh, this is what's wrong with you. They don't fucking know. Do you know that medical error is the third leading cause of death of Americans, according to the American Journal, the Journal of the American Medical Association? And I think that's conservative. And I definitely think that's conservative when you add adverse drug reactions. They segment out the two statistics. Adverse drug reactions, prescription deaths, and fucking medical error. I think it's number one, especially post-vaccine shit. And you're still trusting these motherfuckers in white lab coats because they use scientific jargon. It's your responsibility to understand science. I'm not fucking any smarter than any of you people out there, right? There are people that have maybe been hit in the head or have genetic problems and or whatever, and maybe they have some sort of impairment, okay? But other than that, you have neuroplasticity and you can learn all kinds of fucking shit as much as you want, okay? I'm a guy who started out with an English degree and ended up with a master's in math, financial math. In the span of 5 years, I got both of those, like 5 or 6 years, I got both those degrees. Okay, not because I'm fucking smart, because I did it. I didn't fucking wait. I didn't hesitate. I didn't masturbate. I actually fucking got in the mix, and I wasn't afraid to fail. And I fucked up plenty. But I didn't have a fucked up identity around what failure meant. I knew that failure was that veil by which I had to go through to hit success. So you need to start thinking about your identity and taking charge of it. And what and who do you want to be? Do you understand? Otherwise, you are going to be in a box your whole fucking life, and you fucking created it. You have nobody else to blame. You'll try to blame other people, but it's you. And that's sad. That's tragic. That's like human tragedy. That's some Shakespeare level shit. All right. So, okay. I'm sorry for getting all fucking fired up and heavy. Well, I'm not sorry. I mean, you know, it's just a phrase, whatever. I appreciate you guys tolerating that, listening. I hope this was of value to you. Yeah, I said I wouldn't go over an hour, and here we are at 55 minutes. Guys, if you have any comments, any stuff you want to talk about, DM me. I am here again to help you guys all through various methods that I can help you. You know, obviously there's scientificwrestling.com. That's for like remote information if you want to learn about getting in shape, self-defense, grappling, submission stuff. Coach and Catch, if you want to get there in person. scientificwrestler.com if you actually own a gym, 10xdenver.co. You need to come to this. Sales, marketing, scaling. It's me going over Grant Cardone's material for 3 fucking days in a locked room, intimate. Do it. Best deal you'll ever make. You can go see the testimonials on that website. You can engage with me one-to-one or in the group setting. Thales Coaching, THALES coaching.com has all the offerings, including authority-coaching, which is about writing your own book and the power that there is in that. And guys, 10X RevGen, that starts next week. Those of you guys who are in Denver or around, come meet me. I'm going to be down there in, about 2 hours. I got a jet to downtown for the 10X Denver networking group that I organize. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Hit me up if I can ever be of assistance to you. And I will be here again tomorrow with the No1 Podcast. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.